We're back. We are back. Alright. Hold on. I don't know why I lifted up my phone. I could have just done this instead. That's like so funny to me. Alright. Well, are you gonna work? Okay. Alright. So this should be good. Alright. Why is the stream like just black on my fucking laptop? Is my question now. Things aren't just working. There we go. Now everything's working. Alright. Well, welcome back whenever everyone decides to get back. It was a little bit longer of a break than intentionally intended, but we are here and we back. I don't know what else we could talk about pertaining to things. Welcome back, welcome back. Oh man. What's some questions? What's a good topic we could talk about? Because right now, I don't have anything to talk about. I went downstairs and was not faced with something to talk about. Other than explaining to someone who Archangel Michael was, which was pretty interesting. Other than that, I didn't have anything else go down. The birds always be chirping, and I always got something to say. They always carry something, some message. And it's always a good sign as well to hear the birds chirp. It means things are moving. Things aren't stagnant, things are like living and conscious. You're welcome. No worries, no worries. I don't really know what I did, but you are very welcome. It's what's going on? What's some questions? What's something that's been on y'all's mind? If I can answer it, I will. If I can't, I just tell you I don't know. I'll point you to a good direction, hopefully. No. I can't think of much else other than stuff about the ego, and it's stuff that I need to write down instead of talk about so I can actually keep it in my brain. Wishing me an awesome day. Same, right back to you, ditto. My day's going very well right now. I can't complain. I cannot complain. Yeah, my hair's been cut for about 2 weeks, so yeah. Keeping your mind focused on being a lighter every day. The best way to go about making yourself lighter is really just being transparent with yourself, not holding any grudge with the past. It's so important to not hold on to any past grudge at all, like towards yourself, towards anyone else, and as well that I don't see anyone talking about this when they're doing healing work, but after you heal from an event that transpired from someone else, what they'll do, what people just say is like, oh, forgive them and yourself, or forgive yourself. You know, you don't need an apology from anyone else, but you need your own apology. So, like, after you work through and have a grasp of why an event, or you know, forgiving someone for an event that they may have transpired onto you, it's important for you to forgive yourself on you going through that event, because you, as the observer, you not only had to observe all of those feelings that happened, all the thoughts, but you also had to observe the reality that that kind of put you in. And it's not a reality that happened from an external point of view, it's a reality that happened from the internal. Forgiving the other person is forgiving of the external reality. You have to forgive yourself of the internal reality. Yeah, I'm safe from the flooding. My hometown uh is probably fucked, but I'm fine. I'm away from the flood areas, but I know how bad it can get. In the areas that flooded, we my hometown actually lost a museum of a bunch of artifacts that we had because of the floods that happened in 2019. I believe it was 2019 or 2020. It was one of the 2 years, but um we lost a lot. We lost a lot of houses. Like, there's like places that are still were still being rebuilt, including a bridge that was like leading to town from like an outskirt area. But anyway, um, making sure that you can forgive yourself for going through what you went through as well, because in the grand reality of things, your rational self will say that you had to go through it, but you didn't actually have to. There was always a sign that you could have listened to or seen to avoid a circumstance, but it was this rational self, this part of the self that was like in control at that point, that needed you to go through something on the physical. And though you learned valuable lessons, though you learned new ways of handling things, new ways of viewing things, you still have to go back to the self and apologize to it for needing to go through those sequence of events that could have been avoided going through, you know, something else, maybe a different person, maybe a different avenue, maybe just going through the internal searchings of yourself to find out those answers instead of needing an external force to show you. You know, and that's going to help you a lot with accepting humility, because a lot of people who go through the healing journey have a hard time with accepting humility, because they feel weak, or they felt like their past version was weak, or a lower than how they are now, when truly you embody every aspect. So your past self isn't a lower version of you. There are some things that your past version had mastered that you carried over to this version. So it's not that your past version was lower or weaker, it was just immature, inexperienced in certain things. And you should be able to take that humility um on and wear it as a badge, saying that I didn't know this was going to happen actually, and the fact that now I know how it's going to happen, and I know how I'm going to react to it. Now that I know the triggers that are going to happen within me, I can be more observant to myself to prevent those external things from co-inspiring again. But that's a good way to really keep yourself light, because a lot of people feel like the external is a heavy load. It's really the internal that's a heavy load. The external is very malleable, super malleable. Like, I can do this, I can't do that inside. Well, through meditations and through deep divings you can, but I can't do it as easily as this. Like, if I had a bottle in my head, I could easily just talk. It's super malleable. I could do whatever I want, right? When it comes to the internal, things are more solidified. Things are programmed to a matrix, to versions of ins and outs. So be very aware of how how you're seeing things, allowing yourself to know that the external is the really the easy part of life. The internal is the hard part, because that's where all your views are based. That's where all your feelings are homed at. That's where all the things that will affect you the most, because it's these identifications and definitions that we have with the external that come from the internal that make it so hard. So really just internalizing things, actually being one with spirit, and focusing on the internals rather than the externals. That's why everything's so hard, because there's so much focus on the external. But then again, the external is so bright and loud and in your face that it's hard to um really focus on the internal without knowing what the internal is, you know. A lot of times, because even when people meditate, what are you meditating on? Are you just meditating to relax your mind, or are you meditating on a certain subject? Are you meditating on a certain event? Are you meditating on a certain word, or a label that you're trying to break apart? You know what I mean? Like, meditation just isn't for relaxation and zoning out and, getting uh, access to the cosmos. You can do that to get access to the depth of you, getting to not only your own identification with what words are, what things are, but as well as getting down to the root value of why they were invented. You know, and I mean that's something that a lot of people don't really do. Because meditation's also thrown around really weirdly within certain communities. Like, it's not, I don't know, like, people could describe things better. Or at least learn about them a little bit more, because a lot of people that I think that when I say I meditate, they just think I sit around and just like close my eyes and I'm just, honing into myself and humming vibrations. Half the time when I'm meditating, I'm doing something completely different and I'm breaking down what a word is. I'm studying. I'm in that meditative zoned in energy, well, area, whatever, however I should say. But just breaking things down, letting your rational mind do what it does best, break shit apart. Let it do that. Let it do that for the benefit of you, though. How am I going to get this? How am I going to do that? All these things. Even though you can be aware of the dangers that pop up, don't let that cause you fear. Just be like, okay, this could happen, that could happen. Those things are like very possible. I'm not going to send a lot of my attention towards it. I'm now going to shift my focus towards the desirable, which is the end goal that I already had in mind before those events, started to pop up, before my rational mind started going, oh, look at this, look at that. You know what I mean? Like, think about it this way. You're making a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and that shit's easy as fuck, right? You just make peanut butter, you do it, right? You get the peanut butter, you get the jelly, you get the knife, you get the bread, you put it all together, right? The rational mind is the part of you that's like, okay, we have jelly. What kind of jelly do I want? How much jelly do I want? Is this jelly expired? Where did I put the jelly last? Your rational mind's doing all that shit already. And you're just going around walking and getting this shit, or looking at the cabinet being confused why it wasn't there in the first place, right? And then let's say it's not there in the cabinet. Now your rational mind's breaking down. Did someone move it? Did I move it? Where did it go? Did I throw it out? It's already gone. All these other things that it does, but they're not conscious. They're subconscious. They haven't brought it to the surface, because some of these things can be exited out immediately. Oh, I live alone, so no one could have moved it anywhere. So I obviously know that no one's gonna move it because I'm here by myself. So did I move it? I don't know if I moved it. Let me go check somewhere else. Is it expired? No, because I used it literally 2 days ago. I just don't remember where I put it, right? All these things. That's what the rational mind does. So let it do what it does best, because it's fantastic at what it does. It is just you're using currency in it that make it spend its time using on things that aren't valuable, that things that will put blockages up, things that will like cause you to stress and torment, rather than breaking down actual um necessary things. Like, oh, well, if I need to get the knife, the knife's in there. If I need to get the jelly, the jelly should be in there. All these things. Just letting yourself do that. It's not running on autopilot, but it's allowing that rational self to do what it needs to do, and allowing the soul, the root of the reason why you're doing anything, to continue and transpire forward. Oh, let's say you're out of, like, again, let's say you're out of jelly and bread. Well, now you gotta go to the store. Easy done in there. I'll just go to the store and get the bread and stuff, and I'll get that. Then you're faced with two options. I either go to the store and get the ingredients I need, or just don't get the sandwich. It doesn't matter either way, but what are you actually desiring to do? And are you allowing external things, like going to the store, keep you from doing what you need to do, right? And this is all, it's literally all a fear-based thing, because if you don't go to the store, why not? You're not wanting to go. Well, there's a reason for it. There's a reason beyond you being, well, there's a reason beyond you wanting to think that you're lazy, or that it's not necessary, that's keeping you from going to the store. But the rational mind doesn't go that deep. The rational mind just focuses on the external. It's the soul that's like, okay, you shouldn't go to the store today because it's just a bad day to go. If you go to the store today, it's gonna be backed up as fuck. And I already know this because the soul's connected to the divine, and it's gonna tell you like, what if the store's busy? Like the store's gonna be fucking packed. Don't go today. And then you're like, I'm not gonna go. Though you don't realize that communication literally just happened in milliseconds, not even milliseconds, quicker than that. Like it's quicker than light. It boomed immediately. Not going to the store. Don't want to. Why? Because the soul, the heart space, the sole reason, the cause for it was you got information from the divine giving you a reason for why you are taking this reaction. It's that's that's how we work. That's how computers work. That's how our brains work. That's literally the components that are talking to each other in it. But we don't focus on that, and it's not because we have to focus on it, of course. But when you do focus on it, it begins to show you who you are, which is a an algorithm of a bunch of ins and outs, a bunch of experiences that you've gone through and that you haven't gone through, experiences that you are expecting and unexpecting, all based off of the idea of this existence that you're in. And that idea is generating all these feelings, all these thoughts, all these actions that you have. Um, and it's really just up to you to see the depths of it. And of course, like, it's not something you need to do, it's not for everyone, right? But for the ones that can get to that point, the ones that want to reprogram their subconscious in a conscious way, because as we know, doing anything with intent makes it stronger. So for the ones that can, I highly recommend you focus on that point, because your intention on focusing on what's going on beneath the surface is going to allow it to show itself to you way more, because you need that focal point. Now, of course, you might catch on to it here and there because your intuitive nudges, right? But this is a way to be more intuitive rather than being more rational. And it's a very interesting reality that we live in, because, like, for example, literally this happened 3 days ago. I went to a little gas station to get some noodles and stuff because I just needed something to eat. And I was like, why do I need to go here? And I heard, no, it happened yesterday. It wasn't a few days. It was literally yesterday. I heard $12.99, and I was like, $12.99 is like it's like, so I'm only gonna pay $12 when I go there. Sure, okay, I'll just go there. If I'm only spending $12, I might as well. So I went there, went to the store. It was actually $12.68. I don't know why I got $12.99. I most likely just misheard it. Like, let's just be real, right? So I went there. I only spent the $12 that I already put on the card, so I didn't overspend. I went there because my intuition, the soul in me, the divine in me, was moving me to go there for a specific reason, for specific products, and already knew the exact calculation of what it was going to be. Right now, it's going to tell you, the soul's going to tell you the exact thing you need to hear. But it's working with that communication, because there was some miscommunication, because how did I get $12.99 when it was $12.69? Well, because I misheard it. It's a game of telephone, and that's okay. I got the basis of it, though, that if I went, I knew what I would spend. The funniest part of this whole thing, when I went there, the dude said it was gonna be 20 something dollars, and I was like, sure, but whatever you say, 20 something, I'm still paying you, because I don't think that what I have is $20. It was definitely not $20 either. I knew it was. It was 4 items. Ain't no way. There's no way, right? I knew it. And I went out, when I came back, I checked how much was removed, and it was just $12. I was like, okay, well, there it is, right there. And that really, and all of this shit is happening while I'm writing a book about the rational mind and the intuitive consciousness, and the ego and all this stuff. So it really just sent me into this deep, like, meditative mode of, like, that's literally, like, that's the whole point. Like, that's the journey of life right there. It was just listening to the intuition to do something that I desired to do, that was actually going to help me. And because that's all it was. Was like, a fucking drink and some noodles, and that was it. And just to keep me writing the book, and that's all. And it was the fact that I got if I would have got scared, what if I got scared, like, oh, this is $20, let me put something back, and then I come back and I find the total's like $9. Like, what the fuck? I could have just got the other thing. If it was $9, I could have spent that instead of doing that, and then needing to walk back or being upset at myself. I just trusted what I heard, and granted, I really honestly writing this book has made me a lot more aware of the process, because even though I'm thinking of it in one way, actually putting it out in the physical, it's always going to translate different, because again, it's a game of telephone, from the invisible to the visible to the external, and it to the observer, I should say, to the visible. That would be a better way of prefacing that. But it's literally that way. It's that simple. It's not none of this mojo jojo bullshit. It's none of this like spookism. It's truly just, you literally have the answer inside of you to everything, and you might not hear it the exact way, but you hear it to the point to where it's actually going to be for you, which is so important whenever you go to get readings, especially when you listen to collective readings, to use your discernment, because what you might resonate with is what your rational mind wants you to have or knows that you can get, and it's the events that it's comparing it to make it seem and feel like the story has to line up this exact way, which is why a lot of people end up waiting for something grand to happen whenever they're literally just 2 steps away from opening that door, and all they have to do is trust that intuitive thought to go forward. It's really, 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 it's like that. There's nothing like scary about it, you know? But again, this is a process that we have to work through, because we have the rational self, and the rational self will always break down what it's mainly consumed with, which is fear. It's going to always trust that fear. It's always going to hear that fear first of, oh, don't do this, don't worry. It's always going to have that. No one has gone their entire life without it, because it's still a cycle within reality. People have made it their life, part of their life living with the rational control, other half not, which is why that transition happens, because it's in the DNA, it's already within the body. When you start to do that on smaller levels to grander levels, that then changes the collective conscious as well as the individual consciousness, allowing you to put your lessons in your life into your vessel, so that whenever you have offspring, or however, it adds to the collective. So now that individual is going to have set lessons that they're going to know, and they're going to have a so-called stronger intuition, which isn't necessarily a truth. It's an observation of it, but what's happening is a more clear way of hearing the intuitive self, because the intuitive self is always going to know what the hell's going on, when it's going on, and how it's going to do it. It's connected to God. It doesn't need any other opinion. It knows what the fuck's happening. It goes, yo, I know what's gonna happen. I know this. I know that. Let me tell you what's going on constantly, because it's always talking to you. Let me constantly give you tools. Let me constantly give you these thoughts. But it's this rational mind that's gonna block things out. Oh, that sounds silly. I don't want to do that. This, that, the other, yada, yada, yada. And that keeps you from actually moving forward to what you're desiring to do or desiring to get, And it's so important to focus on that. At least for me, I find it very important, because this is definitely a cycle in my life that I would like to break. And it's less again about trusting the intuitive self, because again, this is the funny part about being an observer, being in that observatory position. It's not about trusting your intuition. It's about letting your rational mind see what the intuitive self is already seeing. If you didn't trust your intuition, you wouldn't have one. But we all have one. It's about trusting yourself. And yourself is this partial divine, partial rational. And they combined. And when they combine, that's the yin and yang, the masculine and the feminine, the nurturer and the action. And at that point, that determines who you are, which is the grand circle as well as the split in the middle of the yin yang symbol, that's showing you that you're encasing both these energies, and it's up for you to walk that path whichever way you're going from, either from bottom to top or top to bottom, doesn't matter. That's what's going on. And it's not to say people say that I trust my intuition are wrong or anything. It's seeing it at the core, at more of a core value. The closer that you see things for their core, for their true value, the more clean things get, the more you can actually see the mistakes that you make, that you then learn from, the lessons at that point, because it's no longer a mistake. There are no mistakes as long as you learn from it, and you always learn something from it. So there, you either learn that it pisses you off or it makes you feel good, and something along that spectrum, however close or far it is from the middle of that, is what's going on. I don't know, and this is the thing. Like, I noticed a lot as well. A lot of people don't like going this deep with it, but I find it very fascinating and entertaining, because it's not to say that anyone's right or wrong. We're all seeing the truth. Every soul, every intuitive self has the full truth. It depends on how close you are to the truth to see how deep you can break it down. And it's not our job really to worry about the semantics of things and worry about how it breaks down exactly. But in the journey of self-discovery, it becomes intertwined within that soul finding. I'm very big on the whole soul finding. I don't want any form of, like, how am I trying to word this? Because even at the end of the day, I can't say it the way that I am desiring. I just don't have the words to say it, right? So that's why we use similes, metaphors. That's why we use, like, different words to cover what we're trying to say, because we don't truly know the core value, and that's perfectly fine. It's the journey of finding that core value. But me personally, I don't like seeing things from a distance. I don't like feeling disconnected, because everything revolves around me. The world revolves around you. You're always in the center. You always are. You're always being pushed one way or the other. And the only way you can be pushed one way or the other is by having a force moving you from somewhere. You are in the middle, always. And I like to see myself in that position always, to know where I'm looking, to know what's going on. Like, the moral compass to me isn't just this, like, 2D thing. It's a full 3D welded, like, uh compass that I'm literally in the middle of, and wherever I'm at is just the arrows moving. I'm standing in the middle, not choosing the direction, but seeing where I'm leaning towards. That's literally how I envision it in my mind whenever I'm making choices. It's like, where do I want to go? It's this whole operation itself, and it's so interesting, because when people begin to get at this level of self-awareness, it it disturbs people. It can disturb people around you. And personally, from my own observations, I don't really talk, because I the only other person I talk to that has, like, this type of viewpoint is my mentor, and I haven't talked to him about, like, this out view of it yet. But I need to at some point. But I always find it to be a funny projection of the rational self, just always having that thought program, that thought path of being like, this is kind of just silly how deep this gets, or like, why am I thinking about it in this way? Are all these things trying to deter me away from that path, or it's not that serious, or all these things that would deter me away from the path for seeming too serious or seeming too deep, or however. But it's really just the rational self trying to dislocate you from that soul journey, because the rational self has a hard time knowing that it has a twin, knowing that it has a divine counterpart that actually does know everything, that actually knows the full truth, that knows no lies, no white lies, no opinions, knows the solid truth from the creator itself. And that's hard as fuck for the rational self to agree with. This is why you see the projection of people going, how do you know it? Who God is? You can't talk about God like that. How can you say that? As someone that's saying I can't do that, how can you say that? How can you play God in someone else's life while also telling that person that they can't know who God is? That, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a weird control thing. And it's very funny to watch. I don't know. But again, like, when I say it's funny as well, I don't laugh at people, I laugh with people, because I know that I've been at that point of life too. I mean, everyone has. It's the whole journey. Even if it wasn't in this existence, there was one point in time where you were just like, I don't believe in any of this shit. I don't know, all this stuff is fake. It doesn't matter. But it took you to walk down that path to see this place. People would like to believe and assume like everyone was just born seeing the truth. It's a path you walk down. You start off blind. You're born blind, and then you come into existence. You have to walk down a certain path to see things. So even though you might believe, even though you know that you have all this knowledge deep inside, it's about walking that journey that allows you to access it and understand it and be able to use it in a way that's actually beneficial to you and hopefully to other people as well, rather than just sitting and holding it. It's really interesting, but not but and I keep saying but. I have one but I keep saying it like a million fucking times. It's crazy. Anyway, um, it's not something that spiritual people talk about. And it makes me ponder, how can you be spiritual without talking and taking things to that level? You know what I mean? People take it to the realm of energy. That's physics. That's not spirituality, that's physics. That's sciences. That's biology. Once you go further enough into sciences, into the biology, into the chemistry of things, it becomes spiritual, yes. But at its base core value, it's these tiny little things that make up the whole. The whole being spirituality, because it's inverted where we're at. So it's a huge thing there, and it's broken down into small steps so we can walk back up walk up to the staircase. That's how it is. So we learn all these different things. We have life lessons. We have all these gurus teaching different things and teaching laws and whatever, and in different terms and different ways, different teachings, different vocalizations, all these things. And you finally get to the top and you just realize that everything that they said didn't fucking matter. Everything they said was just a skewed version of what was truly meaning to be said. It was not told in a clean format. Like karma, for instance. People think that karma happens to people outside of you. Karma happens to you. Karma is the fact that you see something happen. I dropped this water bottle. The karma is that it hit the cord, my headphone cable, and made a noise. I had to witness that. That was the karma of it. Everything else did a natural order. Karma is whenever you see what happens. You don't do something, so now someone's getting hurt, or you don't step into a fight, now someone's getting beat up. Your karma is watching that person get beat up. That person's karma, um, for doing whatever they did before they got beat up, was getting beat up. The person's karma for whoever's beating that person up is now they have to beat someone up. It's not to say that someone did something bad, they get something bad. That's not how it is. That's not what karma is at all. It's just the fact that you're witnessing the action of your actions, inaction included, because inaction is still an action. You're choosing not to do something, which is an action, because you have to choose something for it to be an action. You know what I mean? You can't be in this energy of not choosing, because then you're just choosing not to do. Even if you aren't consciously choosing not to do, you're subconsciously or unconsciously choosing not to do something due to an algorithm, a matrix inside your mind that is controlling those actions. Whether you are under that control or not, or over control of those actions or not, you you're still falling for and falling through what that program is, which is still an action of events. You can't be completely still, but to the external world you can be still, right? You know what I mean? Like internally, things are gonna keep still moving on. Internally, systems are still gonna be made. Internally, you're still gonna choose one thing or another. But externally, it might just look like you froze up. Maybe you froze up because you're really trying to dictate whether you should run or not. Well, on the external, like you just froze up. You didn't do anything. No, I did a lot actually. I was contemplating how I should run, where I should run, what I should do. I was like gauging my surroundings, and I couldn't do it quick enough, so I had to sit there and think about it for a minute. I wasn't doing nothing. I was doing a lot actually. You know what I mean? But we don't see that on the physical. We see that on the internal and the spiritual of it. That's what's going on inside of us. That's what spirit's funding you to use. And it's a whole thing going down that path. But that's what's going on with a lot of things in life. And I wish, truly wish, that a lot of more spiritual people would see it that way, because a lot of the things that people are stuck in wouldn't exist anymore. We keep funding it. We keep giving it fear. We keep giving it, not even fear, we keep giving it attention. We keep giving it consciousness. Something can't exist without consciousness. If you were not consciously aware of something, would it exist? If you, let's say you never knew what a chihuahua was. You have never in your life seen a chihuahua or have been presented to a chihuahua. Consciously, they would not exist to you, because in your reality you wouldn't know what the fuck it was. Then one day someone says, "Oh, look at this chihuahua," and you, what the fuck is that? Like, it's a chihuahua. What do you like? I've never seen one of those before. Like, what is it? Like, what? Like, yeah. Now you're consciously aware of that chihuahua. Now it has an effect over your life. Now you have some random opinion about this thing that never existed, but now it just does. It's this whole thing where you're under attack. People are attacking you. You wouldn't have had a damn care in the world about any of that bullshit, any of that drama, until someone brought it to your attention. And then you thank them for that. And, do what you will. I'm just explaining the process of what's going on, because I went through it too. You thank them for making yourself aware to it, and now you have like 10 more stressors on you. Now you have a lot more things to do. Now I have to learn how to do this. Now I have to learn how to do that. Now I've got to do all these other things. Now I feel obligated to do this. Now I feel obligated to do that. And you don't even feel those things. You're thinking those things, because those thoughts are generating feelings to fund its own self so it can do things. It's using your own free will against you and making it its will so it can make you do those things, thinking that you're doing it out of your own need and for your own protection, when in actuality, the only protection that you need is to remember that you are in control completely, that it is solely just you, that no one externally can attack you until they get to you internally. And if you can't heal that internal space, then that external reality is going to show you what needs to be healed from that standpoint. It's not about someone throwing black magic or poor magic or doubt, which is a relation to black magic, not throwing those things at you. And it's more just like seeing it for how it is. What is it like? It's the unknown. It's hidden. Black, it really just means dead. It's property. It's something that you own. Black magic is usually targeted to something that you have internally, to something that you innately have. And then people end up fueling it with this consciousness to be able to have control over the life and create all these external feelings. So now you've created this entity that is very conscious and very aware and knows who, where, and how to attach itself to the body, and allows certain feelings to come in and out and create certain loopholes and wormholes within your life to manipulate things around you to make you feel that way. You know what I mean? It's all these things. But it comes from your awareness, how much attention you're going to be putting into these things. It's not to say that it's not real. It is real. But it's real because collectively, in the conscious realm of things, we have began to believe in it. We have began to fall victim for it, and making it think. And we say fall victim for the reason being, we fall victim to it because you're allowing it to do something. You now feel under power. You now feel like it has a control over you that you have to obligate to. Have some obligation to. I didn't know why I said obligate. Is that even a word? I don't even care. It's a word now because I just said it. You're aware of it now, so it's real. But regardless, looking at it from that standpoint, you then realize what's really going on, which is, again, a mental war, which I don't understand why people don't grasp. Even like I don't know. I mean, I can kind of gauge why, but I don't want to read someone's own personal experience in that sense, because everyone's going to have their own reasoning for why they hold tightly to something. And at the end of the day, it's related to the rational mind, and that's really all that matters. That's all that needs to be known. There's not a need to dig into someone and how they feel in their lifestyle and what they're indulging in. If they wish to indulge in that, they will. If they didn't see an issue with it, then they wouldn't be doing it, right? But that's like the whole point of life. That's the whole journey of it, is really controlling your mind, seeing that what you do intake changes everything about you. Now, it's hard to switch programs when you're so stuck in one way of being and then trying to switch into another. So hearing about, oh, you're being attacked all this time, and then switching to me needing to protect myself, me needing to get my headspace straightened out again. Though you desire that output, it's this rational configuration that you've subscribed to for so long that needs to just be rewired. It needs to be rethought of. It needs to be internalized again. Not saying, again, that nothing people went through didn't happen. It very did happen. It did tenfold. We know why it happened, because you experienced it. That's all the proof that you need to know that it happened. It doesn't matter if someone believes in you or not. But when you excel past that point and you can see it was all internally done, there might have been some form of external action, but it was all internally felt. It was all internally experienced. There was something from the inside of you, the observer, that made you see it on the X side, on the outside, on the X side. That's funny. And it's the same thing as someone, smacking an ice cream cone out of your hand. Are you gonna let that make you mad, or are you gonna just move on with your life about it? Are you gonna get a new one, or are you just gonna, do something else? That's what you have to look at. That's what we are looking at. But people like to prey on people like that. I mean, it's unfortunate, because it's like, it's easy to. Always. I went through everything that I went through with a choice. And that's something else I really, really came to terms with and became friends with, is everything I went to was an internal choice. If I really did not want to go through anything I went through, I wouldn't have done it. It was the fact that I just desired to go through it for some reason. And even though I don't know, or didn't know at that exact point in time, I figured it out later. Whenever everything died down, whenever I was able to clear my mind and truly focus on like what was going on around me, not only around me, but what was going on inside of me, my feelings towards people, my thoughts towards people, it made so much more sense. Like, I had to go through all this stuff. I had to go through feeling like someone had more power over me to really realize how powerful I am. If I'm so powerful that I can make myself forget how powerful I am and then put all that power on someone else, holy shit. What do you, like, huh? I can play that grand mind trick on myself and I don't need anyone else to, like, I don't need any proof at all. I can just do that. Fuck. Like, that's crazy to think about. But no one's pumping that sort of force out into people. You had the power to create it, but here's the thing. Are you stronger than yourself? No, because you're yourself. Can you overcome what you've created? Yes, because you created it. But you're not stronger than yourself. So many people want to say that I'm stronger, I can fight all this. You can't. You're going to kick your ass, because you're messing with two elements that you have no idea about and that are changing constantly. They will kick your ass tenfold over, all right? They don't mean to. They're not doing it to be mean, but you've programmed them to do that. So they're gonna be stronger than you. They're going to know more of you than you, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't be like, well, if you know all of me and you know that I don't want this anymore, then let's work with that. Let's focus on that then. And let's see how I can work with that. And they'll tell you, your intuitive self and your rational self will tell you exactly how to get away from it. It might not feel the best. It might feel like the wrong way to go. It might not make any sense whatsoever, but it will. It will make a lot more sense in the long run than you think. And I don't know. That's what I'd like. That's the progression I wish to see within the spiritual community, but I don't know if it's gonna happen anytime soon. It might happen within my lifespan. It might not. Regardless, I'm just glad to be a part of it, because I'm planting a seed somewhere. It's going somewhere. I don't know where it's going. But I'm glad that it's being heard and put out there and received. Whether that receiving is like with a disagreeable value or not, I don't care. It's gonna do something. It's gonna change the world in one way or another, and that's all I care about. Not necessarily changing the world, but changing where I live at. Changing the state of where I live is all I care about, really. And that should be only anything. Like, if the state that you're living in is not desirable, worry about changing it. Don't worry about how the external world's responding to it. Like, oh, I don't like this. The external world showed me that I don't like this. What do I need to do to change it? What can I do to change it? And then working with myself at that. It should be as easy as just doing it, right? It is for some people. Other people, it's like you gotta work through some stuff. There's some boundaries inside of you. There's some chains that you put on yourself unbeknownst to you that you kind of have to break through. Every one of those small thoughts of someone's not going to care about this, or maybe I shouldn't send that message, even though you sent that message or talked about it like 30 minutes ago, that's a 30-minute blockage that you put on yourself. So now you got to wait that 30 minutes every time you're trying to do something like that until you knock the time down. Like, it's like that. It's very fortunate that it's like that too, because you set your own limitations and boundaries, which is a very good thing, because now you can learn at your own pace. Now you don't have to worry about nothing. Now you can shut out everything that you don't care about, and shut out all the things that you've already learned and don't need to go over again, and just focus on, like, right now. Like, what do I need to do? What would be the most important step for me that would help me grow and evolve? Now that's the thing. You have to accept that everything you went through happened to you for your authentic being. Like, that's the rough part. When you have to sit down and fully accept that everything that happened to you to allow you to be more authentic, to allow you to know who you are, it's rough. Because how would you feel if you knew exact everything? Like, I mean, here's the thing. Be consciously aware of everything that you were about to go through before it happened. And even though you wanted to say no, you still had to go through it. Doing that's rough. But everything you choose, like, it's all for you. It's who you are. But this rational mind itself will try and convert you into who you're not by, oh, the experiences that you went through. Like, that's the thing. I don't like, people want to say the experiences that you went through aren't you, but they are, because if they weren't you, then why did you experience it? You wouldn't need to if it wasn't part of you, and that's a hard pill to swallow. Trust me. I've had long meditations on that stuff before. God, dude, I learned that lesson whenever I was locked in a basement. I was like, damn, I'm really in this basement, but I also didn't want anyone to come down here at some point because I was busy working on stuff. So I kind of got what I wanted. The external reality was just a lot more harsh, and the events that led up to it were a lot more convoluted than I would have imagined. And at the end of the day, it's formed me to whatever. It formed me. It changed me. I overstood what I had to do. I learned the lesson. I moved on, and right into another lesson after that. The lesson of not being indulgent in things that don't matter. The indulgence of drugs and waning off of them. Not like, well, drugs in general, like just smoking in general. Just weaning off of that and no longer smoking anymore because it took up more time of what I was trying to do in it than anything else. I learned how to start up a business because I started Twitch streaming. So I got used to streaming and not showing my face, but talking online and playing games and knowing that I was good at playing games and I could do something with it. All these things. And it's like all these small steps I had to take to get to where I am now. It made so much more sense now in these later days than it did in the present, because I was just fucking confused. I didn't know what the hell was going on. But that's the thing though. When you internalize the lessons that you actually learn, when you fully sit down and you're like learning what you went through and learning by like figuring out like this happened and that happened and all these things happened, and it seems like it was chaotic and out of place and that I didn't have a reason to, but looking back at it with fresh eyes, it's like, okay, so I messed up here. I said I was going to do this, but I actually didn't do that. I let fear stop me from doing this. I did X, Y, and Z, even though you know all these things that kind of like quintessentially ruined the the experience in a sense. It also brought you closer to who you are, because the whole point of being authentic is not rejecting anything of you. It doesn't matter what it is. If you have a body dysmorphia, you have to just your authentic self. You might not like who you like what you see in the mirror, but your authentic self is just more dysphoric, and that's okay. You have to accept that part of it, and you can change it when you accept it. Like I accept that I don't have like a good look, but why don't I? And then when you start breaking down to the why of it, you then understand like I don't like it because comparison this, comparison that, words said here, thoughts had here, my the way my brain is XYZ. Just figuring those things out, it shows you your authentic self, and it begins to lessen those boundaries, lessens those loads, so you're able to walk the way that you're actually wanting to walk. I've been yapping for a nonstop hour. God dang, bro. I guess I said all I needed to say because I immediately seen the time after that. But no, this that's really it. Like it when it comes down to it. Um, where am I from? Uh, I have so many answers to that question. But I'm from Kentucky. I'll keep it real with you. I'll keep it a bean. Dude, uh I'm a little rat sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. I know. I'm from the States. I'm from Kentucky. But regardless, it's important to just keep that authentic value to yourself. Like even like, cause that's the thing about it. We feel like we have issues and problems, but we don't. It's just who you are at that point in time. You literally just have to just accept it. It's okay. Like it is okay to not feel like you're the best right now. It's okay to feel like you're awful. It's okay to feel like those things. That's your authentic version of who you are at that point in time. Allow that to just pass. Just don't hold on to it. Don't believe it. Just be like, you know what? Today I'm just not feeling it. And that's my authenticity today. I'm not gonna put up a boundary and be like, no, I have to. No, I'm gonna be authentic. I don't feel like doing it. It's okay. If you feel like doing something, awesome. If you feel like don't doing it, awesome. Just be authentic. Don't try and code it up by, oh, if I don't do this, then the external reality. No, don't do that. I feel that. I've jokingly told people so many things. I've said like I've in my mind. I've said I've in my clothes before. Like, where are you at in my clothes? I've said that before. I think I was in like middle school. I think that was middle school. I don't remember. I can't have to go. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But that's the thing. I'm right. Like that's the thing. Like there's so many answers. Like, which answer do you want? Like, come. I I joke with my consciousness like that. Like I'm aware. I get it. Like I'm very aware. A lot of people have told me in person like you're just very aware. You don't talk to people. You just kind of sit up on the wall, but you're not sitting on the wall because you're ashamed or scared. You're just observant. I'm like, yeah. That's literally me. And I will joke with it. I will joke with it. Like I am just in the middle today. Like that's just it. You should have hope in how you feel. It's your feeling. You should be able to just feel it, you know? Now, with that feeling, be careful what it's funding because your feelings are what's going to fund you to do things, right? That's why when you have intense feelings to do something, you'll go off and off the deep end and do it immediately. So be careful what your feelings are funding, but allow yourself to feel them. Don't think about them, just feel them. If you don't feel good, feel that pressure on you and just be like, what do I need to do to rid this? Just let it talk to you. Be like, yo, why are you here? Like, you're not the most convenient thing to feel right now, but you're here for a reason, so let me just figure out what you're doing, right? You don't shush them away because it's just going to bring it right back to you. It's just so important. Like, these subjects need to be talked about more. But everyone in this, in how am I going to term this? Because I don't want to use the term everyone, because it's not everyone. Certain collectives online, on the internet, on the big world wide web are so worried about other things than really getting down to what being spiritual is. They're stuck in the baby steps of magic and learning what energy is and learning about projection, that they haven't like explored the everything else. They're still in the fishbowl, and that's perfectly fine. No judgment. They got it. Listen, you got to be there. You got to be there. Let it just be. But there is a whole other world outside that glass dome that you're sitting in, and once you break out of that, you're free. You're in a crazy open world. It's gonna be very confusing, and a lot of things will be thrown at you, but it's fun. It's okay. You signed up for it. You broke out of the bowl. You can't go back in the bowl. It's broke. So what are you gonna do now? That's what we're asking. You know. It's so important just to like really like if you can't be authentic with yourself, I don't know, man. I was there before, so I mean I do know, so because I was there, but I don't want to know anymore. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to configure with it anymore. I don't want to like cooperate with not being authentic, and you know that's gonna happen on its own in due time. Um, with just certain things of like fear of changing and fear of wearing certain things and fear of being judged for talking about subjects, yada yada. But at the end of the day, that still being authentic is going through that process, you know. It's so funny how it all works. Ignoring things can also be authentic, but you can't ignore everything. That's the thing. Yeah, there's like I don't know, man. That's the whole point. Like that's why I switched up how I read. I'm tired of seeing people read about the same shit. I'm tired like people like here's the thing. You have so many like I've witnessed it in other readers' comments too. I know they're guilty. Not all of them, but I know some of them are. They're like, can you talk about something like pause? They'll use the word positive. I'll use it too. Like, can you talk about something uplifting instead? Can you talk about something positive instead? And then they just go, God loves you. That's a fact. Give me a positive. Give me something that's gonna fuel me. Give me something that's gonna bring me together. The cross. See, have I broke that down yet for y'all? The negative symbol being the feminine, and the positive symbol being the unification of the masculine and feminine. Because the cross is not a masculine figure; it's a straight up and down line. Because this is its own symbol, that's its own symbol, but you put them together and make a compound symbol to make positive because they're interchanging, they're interacting with each other. Uh, uh, what do you mean by that? Uh, I don't know how to say your name. Is it Tania? I'm so sorry. I love not being able to pronounce people's names because I'm just like I have to like question myself. I gotta be a little bit humble with myself on that. I think I said your name right. If I didn't, don't beat me up over it or do. It's whatever. But what do you mean by can I help? Now that you can choose like how to do these fears are normals, how can you help? Like how can you help them move through those fears, or have a better standing on them, or how? What are you talking about when it comes to that? The let me find a way to break that down, because I've been looking at Goddess's comment, and I'm trying to find a way to break it down without being too harsh. Or not harsh, but blunt, I should say, is a better word. But how can they move forward, accept it, more? Um, Explain to them. This might be hard to explain to them as well, but explain to them that there are two parts of them. There is be extremely blunt. Okay, I got you. Then no worries. There's two ways you can go about. You can talk about it this way. There are two parts of them, right? It's not just one part, the part that's telling them like all these bad things, all these fears. There's a part of them that's showing them a grander picture. There's a part of them that's fueling this part, the thoughts that they have, that they're thinking, and the fears that they're feeling. There's a part that's funding that, but it's not trying to create those fears. It's trying to create solutions for those fears. The reason why those fears exist, the reason why those backwards thoughts or degressing thoughts are happening is because they're not being internalized. They're not being worked through. Their rational self is hasn't been worked on, and by that I just mean problem solving. Help work with them on problem solving. Be more communicative with them. Like ask them to speak about your mind more to me. And even though you might not have an exact answer for them, just talk about the problem at hand. Be like, so why do you feel that way? I don't know. I just sometimes I feel XYZ. That statement right there is them breaking down why they feel that way. And then you say, well, if you feel this way, like, do you know what? Do you know? Ask them, like, do you know for sure? Because some people won't know anything at all. Say, do you know why you feel that way? Or do you know what could have made you feel that way? And then they'll give you an example. Oh, someone at school or someone XYZ, someone online said this, and then it hurt my feelings, and then XYZ, and then, build a boundary up on whatever was damaged. Like, oh, you're not that way. You don't need to be scared of these things. These things, even though you're afraid of them happening, you're showing yourself the answer to it as well. That fear is protecting you from that already, so you're already protected from it. Just follow that deep inner voice, follow that soothing voice inside, and walking them through that. um but just allowing them to know that the only reason why those thoughts are coming up is because there's been something that they've seen that is causing that. How to get them to accept? Okay. Okay, I'll get to yours after I ask this one, goddess. But how do you get them to accept it? That's something you can't get anyone to do. You can't make anyone accept it. That's something that they're gonna have to walk through on their own journey. So just keep a solid connection with them, so that you can continuously, like, not necessarily need to be up to date, but so that they can keep themselves up to date. Because sometimes you really just need someone else to talk to so you can hear yourself. It has nothing to do with what you're getting off the chest. It just has to be a fact that you're hearing what you're saying. There's been many times where I've talked to people about something and I realize how backwards it was, or how really I just needed to admit it to myself, and I couldn't do it by myself. I needed someone else to do it, and that's perfectly okay too. Sometimes you do, right? So just be there as an ear for them. Don't feel like it's a danger or a responsibility, to make sure that they're not falling for a fear. Be someone that can walk with them down that path so they're not feeling afraid. And the best way to walk with someone is to talk with them. Because if you start talking with them and they got somewhere to go and you got somewhere to go, you'll just start walking together down it. So get into that form. And it's not saying that you don't talk with them anyway, but it's just, keeping that communication clear, letting them know that it's okay to talk to you, because them seeing it's okay to talk to someone externally is going to help them be like, well, they said I could do this. They said this. They said that. I heard this from someone else, and this really helped me. And they'll be able to put those into their own programmings and then calm themselves down internally from what they gathered from you, And that's just spirit working through different people. That's just how spirit works and how spirit does. All right. We'll get to yours, goddess. real quick. So, trying to ignore sex magic. So, a lot of times when you're dealing with sex magic is a control thing. And this could have to sex magic, it can root from poor relationships, poor bondings. This is where like mother and father issues come from. All these things of not feeling respected, feeling deplorable. A lot to do again with like the sacral chakras, your fundamentals, your life, your energies, all these things, right? Being sure to not necessarily ignore, because here's a good way to break down any sort of like magic or spell being sent to you, black magic, whatever. This is a good way to like break it down fully. Why is it being sent to you is the first question. Why, what is actually being sent to you? Well, first of all, you declared it sex magic, right? What does that make you feel? What in you are you experiencing internally that is making you think that this sex magic is like attaching and attacking you? Once you start thinking about that, you'll start realizing like, what is it like? Maybe it reminds you of like a past incident, a past ex, or something of that nature, a past action that the stepfather took a while ago. One of those things, right? Is going to show you that maybe it has to do something with being SA'd at a certain age, and it brings you back to that root point. Once you get to that root point, you have to ask yourself, how did that event make me feel, and why does it compare to this event? You need to find yourself somewhere in the middle between both those two events, because the only reason why any form of magic or any form of attack would attach to you is because it's going to remind you of something that happened uh, externally, or something that happened in the past at when you weren't at the level that you're at now. No matter if that was age, mentality, capacity, whatever. It's comparing it to something where you felt like where you were in a more vulnerable state, whether that's energetically, mentally, physically, emotionally, however, right? It's that vulnerability that it's trying to show you. So allow yourself to be vulnerable in that space and see what's happening. Staying away from people on the physical that will bring a more intense feeling of that is a way to help as well. To keep things under your control, of course, as well. But when you have time, when you're getting those feelings, because again, if energy is being sent to you, and that's how you're taking it, it's being sent to you. So when it gets you, you can change it now. You just need to be able to manipulate it. And the only way you manipulate it is by your thoughts. Instead of feeling afraid of it or feeling annoyed by it or being angry or trying to push it away, invite it in and be like, what are you trying to show me? Like, what's up? Like, what are you doing here at my door? Let's talk before I let you in, right? And then it's going to show you like what's going on, because again, everything happens from that internal point of view. It's difficult to do, and as someone that has been sexually assaulted before, I can grasp where that can happen. I can definitely grasp, especially when it comes down to the physical aspects of how it feels as well, like on the flesh and things of that nature, how it can affect you in those ways. But it's about taking it back down to the root, back to the internal self, and seeing like, why is it here? Why is it actually affecting me? What is still allowing it to have this power, this control, this upper hand in my life that I'm not even wanting or craving? I'm trying to ignore it. I'm trying to push it out. So how do I push something out that keeps coming in? Well, you just let it in. You let it spend its time. You let it spend its course. After its time's done, it leaves. People are afraid of their energy being drained in that sense. But the draining of the energy from a lot of people comes from the resistance, comes from you being a force that's fighting against it rather than letting it come in and seeing what it's all about, right? And that's where all that fear, that panic comes from. Is like, oh, I can't let it. It's not escaping. They're not stopping. All these things. Let it. Don't let anything on the physical happen. If it's something that's happening on the physical with relating to this, like, do what you can do to protect yourself on that level. But when you're taking it to the deeper sense, when you're isolated, when you're alone, and you're working on the inner workings that way, don't allow the fear of the physical to happen. Allow yourself to internalize it. Really, almost become friends with that force. You know what I mean? Get to know it. Why is it there? What does it want from you? What is it showing you? How is it communicating with you? All these things. Why is it making you think certain things? What thoughts is it putting in you as well? And once you understand that, you can start taking it apart bit by bit. Your rational mind will immediately start doing what it does best and start breaking shit apart. Like, oh, you make me feel this way because X, Y, Z, and since all those other things relate to past events that are like that, I just have to worry about these. And since I don't talk to those people anymore and their opinions don't matter, this shouldn't affect me either. And it will literally break something down, give yourself a reason to put up a barrier, and it no longer will exist. Your rational mind is fucking the most powerful thing you have in your life, but we don't use it correctly because it's untrained. It's a wild dog. It's barking. That's why in tarot, anytime you see a dog, it's relating to your conscious mind, your rational self. It's barking at you all the time. It wants attention. It needs attention. It needs you to look at it. It's trying to protect you. All these things. Dogs are protectors. It needs. It's really like that. It's the symbology of it. It's showing you like that you have this side of you that's always yelling. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Look back ceiling, bed frame, headphones, the necklace, all these shit. It's all that shit saying it, but the internal self is like, look how cool this looks. I like the way this person talks. I like the way the background looks. You know, they look like they're well dressed today or something, or I don't like the way they look, or whatever. You know, whatever. All these things. That's what's going on with this. So just breaking it down like that, because the rational mind is only an enemy to itself. It's not really an enemy to you, it's an enemy to itself because it doesn't want you to feel in that danger. It wants to protect you. But what can it really protect you from if you're not seeing the danger? It has to put that danger somewhere closer to you to then make you feel protected by it. You know what I mean? It's all these things, but that's the best way I can go about breaking down the sex magic. If you feel like emailing me and talking about it closer with me, I can help you out with it that way, regardless. You know, because people can email me and ask me questions at any time. It doesn't matter. But you know, because I know some things get a little too deep and personal that people don't want to just talk about out loud. Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah, the email's in the pinned message. If you look in the pinned message, it has the email and then donation links if you want to donate, just all that stuff there. You can just use email like for whatever. Just don't spam me, please. Please don't spam me with stuff. I've already had that happen before. It floods my email. I had to like clean all my stuff out. But yeah, all that stuff. Like if you're interested in services that I have, I can send you those and stuff. And don't let my services scare you from asking me a question. Like don't worry. I will answer your question for free. I'm not gonna be like, okay, it's $50 to answer this question. I'll answer them. It's okay. We're here to learn. If you're wanting a service, go get a service. If you're wanting to ask a question, ask a question. If you're wanting to gauge how you're going to enjoy my services based off of questions you ask me, you can do that as well. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna withdraw information unless I know like you're not able to handle it, or unless you tell me not to say something. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm gonna let you know what you need to know. But I want to make sure that it's within your own boundaries. You know, within like with especially with working with people. But you know, it's just what it is. It's just be how it be. So don't worry about that. Because I know I have a lot of people that are like, can I email you? And I'm always a busy person. But literally, if anyone has anything that needs to like anything that happens, I'll literally pop it out and do it. Like I was while I was writing the book, one of the ladies who was cleaning the room was like, "You do tarot? Can you do me a quick reading?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I did her like a 4-card spread, a little cross. And while like I quit writing the book, I quit doing everything, did that real quick, and then it took me like 30 minutes. Like I don't care to do that. You know what I mean? Like life is gonna continuously be busy. I don't worry about time. I'm not on like a schedule. I don't fuck with schedules. I don't need a specific time to do something. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And if I decide not to, it's just because it wasn't time. That's all. No pressure. Like there's too much pressure. Regardless, there's gravity, and that's the biggest pressure we have. It's going in and out and moving around us. We got the tourist field around us. I don't need anything else other than that. You know what I mean? There's too much. We got a lot of stuff going on already. We don't need to schedule stuff out. Unless you want to, then of course, you know. And schedules can be helpful, but for me, being a triple air sign, good luck keeping me on a schedule. I will I will be so flighty, it will be crazy. I'll either show up early or not at all. I will never show up late. Because if I show up late, I wasn't supposed to be there. You can't stop drinking over trauma. Why do you use drinking to hide the trauma? Are you able to switch from drinking whatever substance you're drinking into like a more healthier substance to like combat that, like water? Or if you need something fermented like kombucha, but don't drink too much of it because it's acidic as fuck. You know what I mean? But at least you know why you're doing it. That's the first step. At least you know why you're drinking. Some people just do it and they don't really like care anymore. But if you can figure out the why of what, before you're doing anything, you can really overcome just about anything. You know, there's always a reason that you're trying to escape from, and once you really deal with that reason, you no longer have those cravings. But regardless, like, you know, don't be afraid to message me. I seem like a scary, serious type. I know I do, but I'm not. If people just get to know me, because I seem very serious. I'm very aware of it. Like God, that's why people say I'm full of it all the time or I'm egotistical. I just know what I know, and if I'm not willing to deal with something, I'm not. It's literally me being an air sign. Like, I am literally every air sign in its exact position. The cardinal air sign is Libra. The the fixed air sign is Aquarius. The mutable is Gemini. And tell me why my sun, which would be the cardinal, is Libra, and my moon, which would be the fixed, is Aquarius, and my ascendant, which would be the mutable, is Gemini. I am literally in order. You're looking at an actual air sign. You're looking at the entirety of one in the way that it's supposed to be. It's crazy. So I get it. Like, I'm very aware. I'm very aware of how I come off. Do I mean for it to? No, because I know that I'm not like that at all. You just gotta get to know me. You don't even have to get to know me. Just watch a stream. I'm giggling and laughing and coughing up a storm. If you think I'm like mad at you for 2 seconds, that's a you problem. I don't get mad at people. I ain't got time to get mad at people. Exactly, Cherokee. That's a good mantra to have, because that's like a number one stress that people have is, oh, I planned all these things and didn't get it done. That's okay. You planned it. Why do you think plans have to be done today? You could plan something for next week today. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be careful. You gotta just, be easy on yourself and be careful with yourself. Don't overwork yourself. I do that all the time. I do that all the time. It's awful, but I do it all the time. Because I just like to work on things. I am a creative little individual that always has to be doing something. Like, right right now, what do I have? I have one, I have that. I have an album that I'm working on. I have a video game that I'm making. I have books that I'm writing. I have this. I have tarot. I have like my daily meditations that I like to do. I have so much shit that I'm doing. I just can't stop working. But it's it's crazy. You wouldn't believe. And I don't do it all in one day either. Trust me, there's some days where I don't do anything for weeks on end. And it's just because I don't want to. Like, right now, I'm not working on the tarot class because I just can't. I literally have the PowerPoint for the class up that I'm working on. It's just been on my task browser for like a week. I haven't touched it. But it's there to remind me that whenever I'm ready to work on it, I just gotta go there and work on it. I don't want to wait to work on something. I'm gonna just do it. It is keeping everything within arm's length reach, so I don't have to worry about it. And I know that there's a reason behind why I do that. I gotta delve deep inside myself and figure out what makes me act like that. At first, it was a feeling of being undervalued, but I know that cycle is broke. Like, I could care less if someone values me or not. I value what I do because it's what I've done. Other than that, I can't really explain why I'm all over the place like that. I haven't dug that deep yet. There's still some stuff I gotta figure out, you know? I'm only 25. I haven't made my whole life yet. I know what I know, definitely. But I haven't figured it all out. I haven't figured out my whole self yet. I don't know who I'm gonna be when I'm 30 yet. I just know who I am now. And it's just how it is. And that's just how it is. Why was my phone? Why was it? Never mind. That was a Gemini moment right there. My phone was on 20, and then I was about to ask myself, why is it on 20? I don't I know why it's on 20%. I'm just not in it to win it right now. But I mean, that's fair. This is like what? Almost 4 hours of stream in a day. That's more than usual. I trust me. I know I'm wise beyond my years. I have peers that ain't nothing like me. I I sometimes wonder how I have the friends I do because they ain't nothing like me. I am the only one in the group that talks about this stuff. That's this deep. I'm the only one in my friend group that knows how to do certain like hoodoo spells and shit. I'm the only one that's in the spiritual game. I had one of my friends say, "You're brave for doing it." There's bravery in it, but now I just realized that I'm just a fucking weirdo, and I'm just running around in circles for eternity, trying to figure out the same question. So it's not that brave. But once you get past the first hurdle, you're kind of already halfway there. It's just brave. It's like, oh, I'm over. I found out that there's another side to life. Awesome. Now I just got to explore. Have I been gifted since birth? I would say yes. I've done a lot of astral projections when I was a child. A lot. Um I was always very aware as a child as well. Like I was reading at a college grade level in like 5th grade, and in 3rd grade I was reading at like a high schooler level. So I don't know. I take interest in things. I have that never ending fire. I don't know how. It's just in me. I don't know. I mean, I was just chosen to have it, I guess, or whatever, or I chose it, or however, you know. But I've always been like gifted. I'd say I wasn't put in talented and gifted, and I'm fucking glad I wasn't because all they were doing was testing on kids. I'm glad I wasn't tested on like that. I did, however, have a speech impediment. A really, really bad one when I was a child. That's why I stutter and say a lot. I couldn't say skull. I still can't say walrus. I cannot say that word to save my. I've said it once correctly in the past 12 years. Other than that, it's coming out like that. I don't know why. I don't care why. It's just how it is, right? But that's why they didn't put me in tag, is because I couldn't say certain words right. And I was like, okay, well, that doesn't mean a damn fucking thing. But sure, awesome. And then they took me out of the class because they said I didn't need to be in it anymore. And I was just confused because I was in it I was in it from kindergarten up till 4th grade, and then they were like, we don't need you in this class anymore. And I was like, I still can't say certain words, and they were like, no, it doesn't matter. So now it doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So I don't know. It's always been fun. I do remember though, I did kind of only want to go there because we got animal crackers at the end of that class, and I would just go to get the animal crackers. That's all I cared about. I swear, I think that's what they caught on to. All I cared about was the animal crackers. That's all I cared about. I miss the teacher though. He was a cool teacher. I'll never forget Mr. Johnson. He was a really cool. He was like, I think he might have been like a hippie or spiritual. He was definitely a hippie. I know that for sure. I don't know if he was spiritual or not, but he was rocking the whole vibe with it. Very wise man. Never seen him. I seen him when I was 16 one day, and he quit working at the school because he was about to, quote him exactly, he was about to kill the principal, so he left. And I don't know what that meant. I didn't care what that meant. I'm just glad he got out of there. Because ain't no one need to be doing nothing like that. So I seen him at the gym one day. That was funny as fuck. But other than that, I don't know. I tried asking my sister about it because she worked there and she didn't know because he quit before she started working there. Well, no, he quit whenever she was moving, not quitting the school, but moving teaching areas from like computer typing to something else. I forgot what it was. I wouldn't say my life is hard. Um, it's definitely had its obstacles, but it hasn't been something that I haven't been able to overcome. It's been a challenge. I wouldn't say it's a hard life. It's a challenging life, you know. But I mean, I guess you could say it's been a hard life, but I don't like seeing it from that from that perspective. But I get what you mean. But yeah, it's been difficult for sure. It hasn't been the easiest. But nothing I can't work over. Nothing I can't complain with. I'm a good person. I know who I am. I stick by my morals very fondly. God keeps me floating. The most high. Anyone, L L keeps me good and floating. So I ain't got an issue. You know, there's some days where it's a little bit rough. Other than that, it's good. I know that I overreact. I understand that sometimes the rational mind just gets to me. It's a work in progress. Shit. What is like what 25 whenever the male brain is supposed to start to fully be developed or some shit like that. I mean, comparing myself to most like boys my age, godly, my god, I ain't even think about what color shoes they wearing. They just fucking put whatever they on. I don't even know. What do you mean by the emotional pain? Is there like anything specific in regard to that, or is it just in general with how life is, or in in personal situations, or a combination of both? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, a lot of the pain that we feel that we would label as emotional is really our own thoughts trying to pressure us to do something more than that what we can. It's us trying to force and will things into reality that we know that we can get, that we know that we desire, that we know that we're going to have, but we're trying to speed up that process. We're trying to avoid some part of ourself or some form of external viewpoint that needs to be changed, and it's very rough. Trust me on that. I've walked down those paths before. In fact, I'm still walking down one right now. It's not an easy path to walk, but allow yourself to vent out. Allow yourself to just be honest. Allow yourself to scream. Allow yourself to say I hate everything right now. Like, don't bottle that stuff in. Allow yourself to genuinely, and because this is the thing, people think that feeling your feelings or acting or feeling your emotions or however you want to label it is a bad thing. Or they'll say, "Oh, don't feel angry because angry's bad." Well, here's the thing. If you're already feeling angry, why would you bottle it up? Just let that shit go. Let it out. Don't let it go by like forgetting about it. Like scream, punch a pillow, do something that's gonna allow you to take that feeling that and that energy, transmute it into something so it doesn't stay bottled up inside. If you feel like you're sad and you don't feel like crying, you don't have to cry, but do things that would make you feel better within that self. Make yourself comfortable. Take lazy days, spend all day just sleeping or do whatever you need to do. Sometimes you do need that cry. Sometimes you need to watch something or see something that's going to push those tears out because you're holding them back because you feel like you'd be weaker if you cried or weaker if you let those feelings out. Allow yourself to feel what you desire to feel. Allow yourself to feel what truly needs to come out. Don't don't restrict yourself in that sense. Literally, even if it's just saying I fucking hate that person to yourself, do it. There, you can work through that what you said after the fact. You can work about it whenever you want. Just allow yourself to say what you need to say, get out what you need to get out now, so that whenever that time comes to work on whatever you said or whatever action you took or however, that you can work on it with a clear peace of mind of knowing that that actually helped me clear my mind. It cleared up my plate. It cleared up my space. So now I'm no longer holding on to these things they've already been let go of. Now I can work on my response. Maybe I could respond to better than that. That's okay. I was just in a tense situation and need to let something out, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Be what you got to be for that time being, and then let it be a lesson for you in the future. Like, learn from it later. Do it now, learn from it later. Don't worry about the if, ands, and that's, and oh, but someone said this and someone said that. What are you saying internally to yourself that you're not feeling good? You're feeling a certain way. Allow yourself to feel that. Just don't do anything physical to anyone on. You know what I mean? Like, don't hurt someone else on the physical by beating them up or stabbing them, and don't inflict that stuff on yourself either. Um, do your best not to, because I know that it can be hard for some, of course, but do what you desire to do what you need to do to release these feelings. Even if it's saying something that might make someone have a perturbed thought about you, just do it. You know what I mean? um, I've literally, through one of my darkest times, I was in a heavy depression in middle school. So I know all about like the body mutilation and stuff. I would literally tell people that I just wanted to kill myself some nights, and I would tell them like I don't actually want to. It's just there's a thing inside of me that's telling me that I have to say it, and I don't know why. It's just like if I don't say it, I feel like I'm gonna do it. So I would say it instead, and it would. I still haven't like cracked it completely. I could probably just go to like a psychologist and ask, but I want to do it myself because I like learning. But I would do that, and it would alleviate that feeling, that pain, that need to do that. Even if I would say it to myself out loud, it would like alleviate it, and it would be less of an action that I needed to take, and more of just me needing to hear like, do I really want to do that? And then if I did, be very careful with this, of course, especially if you're doing it by yourself. Child, you might, talk to someone truly. It took me years to be able to talk to myself like that. I would always talk to someone, be like, hey, I don't want to alarm you, but I feel this way and I just need to get shit off my chest. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like acting on it right now, but I know I can trust you with the information. I just need someone to hear me right now, and I don't need anyone telling me this or that right now. What I need is just to get shit off my chest. And I would go to someone I trusted, got off that shit off my chest, and then I would go back later and not necessarily apologize to them for getting off my chest, because they wouldn't care. They was like, it's fine, do what you need to do. But I would look at myself and be like, I'm sorry for feeling this way about myself. That was just how I felt that day. It was just a one-time thing. I don't feel like that anymore. Let me work on feeling better. That's my low day. That's okay that I had that. And I would use that like the next day or however as like a point of reflection, to be like, so I felt this way and it wasn't the best, and I felt this way because this was happening, that was happening, and this, use the external if you need to. Of course, it's not saying that's wrong to, but do use the tools that you can right now. So I was like, grades are down, family's fighting, I don't have this, I don't have that, yada yada, this school's fucking sucks, all those things. And then I would be like, all those things are just putting a lot of pressure on me, and I need to just find a new way to work around it. So if school sucks, I'm not talking to anyone. Fuck that. I don't care about anyone at school. I'm not talking to anyone. Family fights, I'm ignoring family. I don't give a damn what the fuck they're talking about. They're not in my life no more. I'm just gonna shut the door and let them argue with what they want to argue with. I would shut people out on purpose, but for a reason of removing stressors, and not for the reason of like being mean or hasty. And I would explain like, hey, I don't want to talk to you right now, or I don't want to talk to anyone right now, or I don't want to, be involved. Like, I'm just not in a good mood. And I would make myself vocal in that sense, so people would know that I'm not fucking going nuts. I would just be like, hey, this is what I need right now. Give me my space. Just give me my space, please. So I had to do that for a while. But that could be something that you could do as well with that. Um, but as well, if you need someone to talk to, You know, there's people, you can email me. Um, as well, like if it's just like a rant that you need to type out, type it like prefix it that as well, so I don't like respond to it if you don't want to respond. But if you are looking for advice, be sure to put like looking for advice or whatever, you know. However, we're all here to help people, and even though it's tantalizing to uh, extend yourself out in certain ways, and even though we all have our own things we're going through, I will always do my best to be there for someone if I'm already like good. If I'm exhausted and I'm like worn out and I can't do anything, I ain't gonna be there because I gotta be there for myself. But if I'm good, like right now, like I don't know, I haven't streamed this long in fucking months, so like I'm better. I'm back in action fully, right? I'm able to do things that I'm desiring to do. I'm not worrying about that or this or being shut down in any sort of way. I got like for open doors. So like, you know, just make sure you time yourself with stuff like this as well. But it's always good. Even if you don't want to talk to anyone, journal it. Write it down in a notebook. And then burn that notebook when you're done. Get rid of those pages, shred those pages, burn those pages, flush that page down the toilet, do something with it, get rid of it. Or keep it for a point of reference. You never know. So different people do different things with it. I understand that. I can grasp that. It's important to just, you know, if you can talk about it to someone and write it down. One thing I would tell you to refrain from doing, definitely do not get any readings. Please don't. Like I'm gonna just tell you right now, do not, because that's going to ruin your mental at this point. This is the pipeline that a lot of people go down when it comes to tarot, is they want answers for the external. If you're gonna get a reading on this, ask, if you're gonna get a reading at all, just ask the person like, what can you do to boost your emotions right now, and that's all you want to know about. Don't let them go wing it, because I like, trust me, like that shit happens all the time. But really, just like, you know, journal, do things that are gonna make you feel better, as well as whenever you lack a child, whenever you have a child I'm no mother or father, so I don't know fully how it feels, but it does connect a lot with the inner child, and it can hit really heavy on that. So allowing yourself to treat yourself, because again, like you could be dealing with a lot of guilt, like it's your fault, or you're not doing enough whenever you are doing enough, and it's just a system that you're working in that's holding things back, right? Be sure to treat yourself and don't let like a guilty conscience keep you from doing that. You know what I mean? This is to allow yourself to heal. A lot of times it's hard to do that because it's like, oh, well, what if someone sees me out and I'm doing something, and they see me having being happy and they know about my situation? How's that going to make them feel? Don't worry about that. Worry about how you feel. And if you are feeling better and able to keep your chin up and remove certain elements from your life, you'll be able to center yourself more and change the reality around you and all these things, right? But just do what you desire, like truly need to do for yourself, for your soul, for the nurturing of yourself at this time. That's the main thing you got to really try to focus on. Again, I don't have a child, nor have I like lost one to custody battles or however, but that is the best advice I can give you from someone who kind of has. I've had the opposite. I've been restricted from seeing my father from my sisters, and being adopted and not knowing my parents was a very uh, interesting life to have. So I can relate to what you're kind of going through, but to the specifics I can't. This is just the best advice I can really give for you at that point. You know, other people would be way more qualified than me, but I can definitely let you know that it is okay to treat yourself. It is okay to nurture yourself. It is okay to have those days where you break down. Don't beat yourself up about drinking, but if you know that it's a problem, then do your best to work through it. Do your best to find gateways away from that drinking. Don't use other drugs. Use exercise, use studying, use meditation, use prayer breaks. use making arts and crafts, doing these other things, you know, to break from it. Don't jump from one substance to another. That's another advice I would give you. What is going on my computer screen? Oh my god. My whole laptop just exploded. There we go. My phone's on 12%. But I don't think I'd be able, I don't even want to test it actually. Because my charger is connected to my laptop charger, and if I plug both those in, I don't know how that's going to work. I'd rather not do that. I'm kind of worried about that outcome. But I'll stay on live until my phone hits about like 8 or 7% and then head off. And then today I'll actually be back on later on. I want to like get a new subject to talk about, but at the same time, just letting people come in and like ask questions like this is always good too, because sometimes, I don't know, direction isn't the best thing for being an air sign. So we'll start off with something, but then go off course sometimes, depending. Oh, you know, I did forget all about that. Let me. What do you think about Trump? I don't give a fuck. As a person, I don't know because I don't really care. As a president, I don't. His rulings do not affect me. I really don't care. I'm not a politic person at all. Keep me away from that. I don't engage in it. I'd rather not worry about someone else's choice in life and thinking that it's going to have an effect on me doing what I need to do. And that's all we need, Eva. That's all we got to do is save from the moments. That's all life is an amalgamation of different moments that happen. And if you can distract yourself from one moment that seems dire, the next one's going to get a lot easier, you know? There's always a better way. There's always something or somewhere you can go or someone you can go to, you know. That's just why we're here. We're here to actually help remove yourself from those problem environments and not feed into it. You know, that's like, you know, it's helpful to a certain point, and then it just becomes backwards. Um, so. Yeah, definitely get that liver and kidney cleanse, because whenever you take in different emotions, when you're in different emotional states, your liver and your kidneys are acting up like crazy because they deal with the toxins and all these feelings and vibrations that we hold on to, even when we're drinking or not drinking or whatever. It's all affecting our body in different ways. So doing those cleanses on those organs are really going to help you with that, as well as doing like a lavender or like a chamomile tea in like the evening or at the shadow hour to help you really relax at night and not have your brain being so active, you know, producing that melatonin so you can actually rest and not be in a stressful heightened mood will help you as well. Doing that as well, you know, frequency work, you know, different colors, different scents will also help you. Just making sure that whenever you first, yeah, magnesium is really good for that too. Whenever you rise and whenever you're about to go to sleep, those are your two most important times to really make sure that what you're doing, because whenever you're about to fall asleep, you can dictate a whole day with that. Whenever you first like rise, you can change your whole day. You can change how everything works from those 2 points of views, and that's when your brain becomes most active. It starts kicking back on, and then you get all these thoughts that were shown to you from your dreams and all these things, and it's just a bunch. So just take time for like meditations and stuff. I had no idea dill pickles were good for it. That's new to me. I need to get this song, because I forgot to do this. Why am I think? Why is my... Hold on. No, it's not. I'm sorry. I was thinking someone else's name. I don't know. Steve Harvey does not make this did not make this song. I need to just say that out loud right now, because this was a channel song I've had for a while, and I wanted to say Steve Harvey, and I don't know why. Like, I don't get it. I really just don't. It's not Steve Harvey. Stevie Wonder. What the fuck is wrong? It be like that sometimes, though. But this song always... I've had it on repeat the past few days. It really just... It puts me in that really calm energy. It gets me into that introspective, like, warm hug energy, so... I felt like sharing it, but I've had it on my mind for weeks, and I just keep forgetting to post it, so I'll just post it now, since I remember. Any other questions before we hop off? Any other questions before we hop off? Because I'm gonna get some other stuff started. I don't know if I'm gonna do anything other than like write that book today and then go live later. But whatever else pops up in life, I'm gonna just do that too. Screw it. Always. We gotta... That's what we're here to do. Not a lot of people... See, that's the thing as well. I've gone through that, where it's just... You just don't want to talk to people anymore whenever you hit certain levels of your own inner journey, because it's like, you're not as deep as me, and I don't really want to talk to you, because it's like, I don't do small talk and everything of that nature, so it's good to just talk about stuff. But I'm glad you stopped by and conversated. Oh, the name of this song? I got you. Let me... Tell me why I'm gonna just copy and paste it instead of typing it out for you. I'm sorry. Why am I... My brain is just not doing what my brain needs to do today right now. I'll get it for you. I'm taking a million steps. I'm taking 1,000 steps, but I'll get there. There you go. One of the best. Oh yeah. I'm probably gonna hop off now. Get some stuff done. Thank you all so much for stopping by for the second half of the first stream. I greatly appreciate it. Any sort of contact, anything you would need from me at all is in the description of this live, of any video. It should also be in my bio of the channel. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. I love each and every one of y'all, to the moon and back, tenfold and forever, and I will see y'all later.